Hi there. Welcome to the University of Waterloo presentation on the recreation majors that we offer here at the university. My name is Pamela Hervid. I'm the undergraduate recruitment coordinator in the Faculty of Health and basically the main contact for students interested in studying one of our recreation majors. Okay, to start with, let's talk about what is recreation and leisure. So recreation and leisure is a very broad sector. There's a huge range of careers in the recreation and leisure sector, and our three programs are designed to prepare students for roles in many different areas. You see recreation and leisure in everyday life, from spending time outdoors to attending events to traveling around the globe. So our majors introduce students to the study of recreation and leisure as a phenomena, as well as the planning, delivery, and evaluation of recreation and leisure services. Through focus on community, environment, health and well-being, identity and diversity, and service and policy, students learn about leisure in its diverse forms with a goal of enhancing the quality of life for individuals and communities. 4.6% of Canadian household spending is on recreation, things like event management, products and services, managing teams, marketing. And people tend to be willing to spend a lot more money on things they enjoy doing. And so it tends to be a pretty rewarding career to get into that always has interest. Okay, next we're going to talk about the three majors that we offer. So when you apply to the program, you actually would apply to recreation and leisure studies, and then pick one of these three majors as your subject of major interest. Your offer will communicate and offer two recreation and leisure studies, but we will put you in your whichever you indicated as your subject of major interest from day one. So you'll start in your major of interest right away. All right, so the first major that we have is our recreation and leisure studies major. So this is the most flexible major, which means it's great if you're not sure which one you want to go into yet. And in this major, you study the role recreation and leisure plays in communities and individual lives. It might be the right fit for you if you have a broad range of interests and you want to dabble in everything, or if you want to pursue a joint honors with another area of study within or outside of recreation and leisure studies. So sometimes we have people do a joint honors with psychology or social development studies. Those are just a few examples. Our next major is our major in recreation and sport business. So students in this major look at how to develop, market, and evaluate recreation services, products, and facilities. The recreation component of the program opens doors for a huge array of careers, and the business skills are transferable to other industries. There's a lot of options to pursue practicum placements and extend your learning outside the classroom. So opportunities to work with sport industry clients through sport business classes. In this photo, the students actually they went on a field trip. It was a fourth year class, and they went to Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment to one of their youth outreach programs, and they got to see how that runs. And then later in the day, the class went to a Toronto Argonauts game, and beforehand, they got to network with sports professionals in the field. They also, as part of that class earlier in the semester, would have a sport organization come to them with problems that they're facing in the community, and the students would spend some time coming up with solutions and then pitch it back to the organization. So we've had students whose solutions have actually been implemented in these organizations later on. So that's something we try to do in many of our programs, is really tie it into industry so that students have so many transferable skills once they graduate. All right, our next major is therapeutic recreation. So in therapeutic recreation, students are studying how to use recreation and leisure to enhance quality of life, often working with special populations such as older adults, children with disabilities, adults with mental health diagnoses, and more to enhance their overall health and well-being. So the program features world-class digital simulations and accessibility training, as well as hands-on practice with your intended client group. So the program has experiential components built right in. So there is a practicum course that's required, as well as an internship. The internship is normally a full-time consecutive 15-week therapeutic recreation internship. And one of the reasons for these requirements is that these experiences are necessary for students who wish to pursue their designation as a certified therapeutic recreation specialist. So this is also known as a CTRS, and it's well known across Canada and the US. And pursuing it really helps with gaining employment in certain organizations such as hospitals and clinical health facilities. This program also prepares students to pursue things, post-grad specialties such as teachers college, occupational therapy, play therapy, or child life specialist. So in the photo is Rachel, and she's actually gone on to become a child life specialist. And so she works at Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto. Here she is managing an interactive television show where children can call in and participate. So she is working to improve the quality of lives for children and their families who are basically stuck at the hospital from day to day. So you might be wondering, why study recreation at Waterloo? Well, one reason people often choose to study with us is we're leaders in the field. So we've been around a lot longer than many other programs. We were the first recreation program in Canada. And over that time, we've had time to grow both our reputation and what we have to offer. So we have over 40 rec courses students can choose from to really tailor their experience towards their interests and career goals. We also have a really big focus on experiential learning. So we also offer co-op. We have an EDGE certificate, which is a different way for students who are not in co-op to get some professional development courses and be able to better articulate the skills that they gained through their undergrad to prospective employers. And we also have connections to industry. We have small tutorials and classes that are available for our students to, one, get to know each other, and two, get to do a bit more of that field trips, coursework, project-based work that is tied to industry and real-world settings. All right, this is a great example of it. This photo is from our Rec 120 Program Management and Evaluation class. So it's a first-year required course where students are learning how to put on a recreation program. And so the way this class was designed is early in the semester, the students would all go participate in a recreation program. So in this case, it was at a camp outside of the city. They got to stay overnight and see what a good recreation program was like. And then later in the semester, they actually went out into the community to put on their own recreation program for family and evaluate how that went. So when you apply to the program, you have two options to choose from. In addition to the major, you can choose between our co-op or our regular stream. So regular is the traditional 4-year stream where you study from September to April and you have summers off. That's a great option because it gives you more flexibility and continuity in your studies. You can live in Waterloo for those 4 months or 12 months if you'd like, and you can maintain the same part-time job or social network. Whereas in co-op, starting in second year, you start alternating 4 months of study with 4 months of work. So you might be moving around. It does add an extra year to your degree. It becomes a 5-year program. But the students who choose co-op tend to like getting to try up to 5 different types of jobs throughout, earning some money to help cover the cost of their education. And while it is a competitive process to apply to jobs and go through interviews, so it can be a little bit more stressful, it does give you some of those soft skill development as well, actually getting to see what it's like to go through job interviews and work towards getting a co-op job. We have tons of advisors and support to help co-op students go through the process, including a very large database of job opportunities available. But because of this infrastructure, it does cost a little bit more to run the co-op program. So there is an extra co-op fee. It's about $3,500 throughout the course of the degree in extra fees. But since you're not paying tuition for your co-op terms, and our students on average are making between $8,000 and $13,000 per co-op work term, it tends to be definitely students don't mind. Students who go into co-op don't mind having that extra fee because they see the value of the other opportunities available. So this is our co-op work term study sequence, just to give you an idea of how it works. So you can see you study from September to April. That first summer is off. But then after that, depending on your employer work term start and end dates and the class start and end date, you may have a week or two between a semester and a work term, or maybe just a weekend. It can really vary. So it is important to note that it does only have that one summer off. Okay, in terms of what can you do with this degree, as you probably guessed, there are a huge range of career options. So many of our therapeutic recreation graduates especially go into healthcare and social services type roles. So some of these I've already mentioned earlier on. Many of our recreation and sport business grads choose to leverage their skills in business and go on into roles like marketing, analysts, or even opening up their own business. Many students do often go into the government and public sector, so working for city recreation departments, or going into event management in such areas, or as you wouldn't be surprised, we also have students go right into the recreation and sports setting, maybe the private sector, working with facilitating professional or semi-professional sport teams or events, working as facilities managers, or other type roles in that respect. So this is John. He's kind of a great example of somebody who liked the program but wasn't quite sure what he wanted to do. He was in recreation and sport business. And so as he was graduating, he ended up putting together a business plan for a brewery. And he actually is one of the co-founders of Alora Brewing Company, which is not too far outside of Waterloo. His degree had a needs-based approach. And so that means making sure that sport and wellness programs put people first and really understand what your customers want and need. And John finds those principles really valuable when he's opening up and running a successful brewery. Okay, in terms of admission requirements and what you need to have, so across the three majors, we tend to have about 110 first-year students come in each year. The required course is grade 12 English. Now, the courses listed here are specific to the Ontario curriculum, but if you are outside of Ontario, you just need to go to our admissions requirement website and pick your system of study from the drop-down menu, and you can see exactly what courses are and average are required from you. We'll take your grade 12 English and your next best 5 grade 12 U or M courses to calculate your admissions average, and we'll usually look for a minimum of 80% to be competitive for admission to this program. In addition to grades, you can also submit an admission information form, which will send you information about after you graduate, and that basically lets you brag about yourself and tell us who you are outside of the classroom. This is not required for admission, but we do strongly recommend that everybody fill it out, as it can help and be used in scholarship decisions. Depending on your language of study for the past few years, you may or may not also need to submit a test of English language proficiency. You can, again, check our website to see if this is something that might apply to you. Okay, so if you want to come learn more, some good next steps, should you have questions, there is that health@uwaterloo.ca email or a phone number you can contact. That actually is mostly monitored by me, so I'd be more than happy to connect with you one-on-one to talk about any questions you have. I also encourage you to visit us virtually or in person. We tend to have an open house every fall and in March. And so that Tours and Events website will list any upcoming major events, as well as our ongoing tours program. So you can tour us virtually, you can tour with us in person. So please check that out. And then if you want to connect with a current student to find more about their experience in the program, we do have a form you can fill out and we'll connect you with somebody and you can ask your questions that way. So thank you so much for taking the time to learn more about the University of Waterloo and our recreation majors. And I hope to see you on campus sometime soon.